What's up, saints? It's Lariah, another Sunday, another sermon recap. Today's messages were very powerful. We were blessed on today with the youth and young adult ministry with two sermons from two very powerful women of God. And both of these sermons were preached out of 1 Timothy 4. Right? I don't know if you guys remember 1 Timothy 4. I'll help you. Don't worry about it. It goes, let no one despise your youth, but be an example to the believers in word, in conduct, in love, in spirit, and in purity. All right. So same scripture, but two totally different angles. So we had Maiyanah, she used David as an example. So David as a shepherd boy, right? We know that before he was anointed king, they had his brothers do a roll call, and his brothers, all looked more fit for the role. They were more, strong in stature. They, more handsome, probably had very nicely lined beards, what have you. But David was the one that the Lord had already had in mind. David was the one that the Lord already chose. David was the one that the Lord anointed and appointed, regardless of, how scrawny he may have looked, how unfit or unkept he may have looked. And so my takeaway from Maiyanah's message was, stop counting God's people out. You never know who God has chosen. We are not to look at man's appearance, but at the heart, because God is called who he's called, right? And that's just that on that. Then we had another angle from this scripture focused on the glory, on allowing God's glory to reign, right? Where the glory rests is where God will rest and abide. That's where God is. So whether that is a 10-year-old, whether that is a 17-year-old, 20-year-old, if God chose and anointed that person and his glory is there, then that's where it is. And let that glory reign. Who are we to cancel out who God has called? We're taking heed to ministry and to calling, not these small things like where we're from, not these small things. These things are, while they are all working together in the grand scheme of our ministry and what God has called us to do, they're very, very small. We're allowing the glory of God to reign in his chosen vessels. Another takeaway from this sermon was it was preached about how culturally as a church, sometimes we can speak against the youth and what God is doing with them. Today, there was actually a little bit of warning in this word. There was a charge for people of all ages in the church today to speak life. Make sure you're speaking life into the youth. Make sure you're speaking life, because you do not know. We know in part and see in part. You do not know what God is doing in these youth. And so we have to be mindful. We have to be cognizant of speaking life. So I hope this word was both edifying and convicting for the saints today. It was definitely convicting for me, and how funny the word was being preached about letting the glory reign. The glory fell heavily in church today. Hopefully you're there next time to catch it.